Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, January 10th. Well, we've been super busy here this morning, so hopefully I can crank this out here quick. But before I do want to stress that this report is for current conditions as of today's date. Many factors can cause ice conditions to vary, so please be careful no matter where you fish. For up-to-date ice conditions, please feel free to call the shop at 608-241-4225, and we can let you know what we're hearing around town. Or if you run into some sketchy ice, please call the shop and let us know, or post in the comments below. Like I said, lots to go over here. Just a few announcements. We support a lot of events here at the shop. This is one of my favorites, the Kicker Cup. So this is a series of ice fishing events ran by some great folks. They do a very professional job. And yeah, it's they're having their first event of the year on Monona Bay this Sunday. You can register up until 6 p.m. Saturday night, I think Jake was telling me. So, and it's 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. on Sunday. And if you want to test yourself against some of the best anglers in the area, this is the one to do it. They get folks that come in from, Minnesota, all over the place, really. So, great event, great folks. We're happy to sponsor it. And yeah, get yourself signed up if you think you got what it takes. The Wisconsin fishing team also support those folks, and you should too by going to the Badger Battle on the Bay. That's going to be Saturday, February 8th on Monona Bay. Of course, great group of young folks down there doing some great work promoting fishing, and this is a fundraiser for their team so they can do their traveling and their tournaments and stuff like that. So February 8th, get in there and support it. You probably saw in the news an ice skater went through on Lake Monona. That was out in front of the Monona Terrace. You can see them rescuing her here, and as far as I know, she's okay, and that's great to hear. Do be careful out there. You can see here that in the background there's some heaves and expansion cracks and stuff like that. So you never really know what's out there. Some of this ice that she was on was open water just 2 days before. I mean, people talk about ice anglers being crazy, but I tell you what, I see ice skaters pushing it way more than anglers, but I'm not sure if they're really pushing it or they just don't know that the ice just isn't safe. So anyway, glad she's safe. Do be careful out there. We're going to be talking about ice safety here in a little bit. Do want to remind you of a cool resource. The University of Wisconsin Center for Limnology has a camera on the roof of their building. So they're on the south end of the Lake Mendota, kind of down here on campus, and the camera faces kind of north here. So anyway, if you're ever curious about conditions down there, you want to see how many folks are out in that area, you can go log on here. Just Google Lake Mendota cam, limnology cam or something like that. It'll pop right up. There was another cam that I is down now. I used to be like on the Edgewater that faced more west, but I can't get that one to pop up. But it doesn't look like anybody's fishing down there right now. The ice down there, from what I hear, is fishable 3 or 4 inches down there. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. Yahar Fishing Club Kids Fishing Day. January 25th. I'm going to beat this into your guys' head to make sure that if you got a kid that you want to get into ice fishing, they can go down there, get a free rod and reel, hot dog, beverages, folks on hand. We're happy to donate bait to this event because it's so awesome. 300 kids, first 300 kids get rods down there. So it's an awesome event and you should check it out. That's going to be January 25th, Monona Bay at Brittingham Park Shelter down there. Speaking of the Yahara Fishing Club, let's see. Let's go. Okay, so we're selling tickets for their raffle that they hold at the Fishing Expo in March. So stop in here if you want to grab some raffle tickets. You can win some cool prizes and support a good cause all at the same time. So we got that going on. Other shop news: our panfish plastics are fully stocked again. We've been smoking through them here. A lot of panfish action, and we got them. We're happy to get them all restocked here. So we got panfish plastics, chigger fry, very popular. The panfish plastics, doopies, also very popular. Uh, Drastic Plastics bone bugs and their new pitchfork shape. I still haven't done a video about that. I got to do that in the Tube of Truth. BY baits, very popular. Great plastics, great interesting shapes. And then Pinpoint Plastics down here, very soft. Very great action on those for like folks looking for the wedgies, which Little Adam is now out of business. I don't know if you knew that, but so yeah, if you want to get your wedgies, Pinpoint Plastics do a great job. Ice is there. Actually, we got a little bit of snow this morning, so there's a little bit of snow on the ice, which might help with walking. But it's been very slick out there. Ice is very glassy. Get yourself some creepers. You just never know. I don't care how young you are, how quick you think you are on your feet. You can still smack your head. So Get yourself some creepers. Get yourself, some ice picks, spud bar, J ropes. I got the J ropes. They're supposed to come in the mail tomorrow, so they will be here. J ropes, super awesome. If you don't know, um, harnesses go around your shoulders to pull your sled. If in an emergency, it expands out to 30 feet of rope that you can toss to somebody. So, yeah, it's a great product. Happy to carry that at the shop here too. As far as door posters go, the Marshall Lines Ice Fishery, January 17th and 18th up there in Marshall. Ladies Ice Fishing Day at Deuters on Lake Koshkonong. That's February 1st. Ladies only for that. We have the Great Milwaukee Classic, which is the antique collectible lure show. That's, I don't know, it's so blurry, but the Sheridan in Brookfield on January 18th and 19th. The woman that dropped this off knows a ton about old lures, and she's very excited. She said this is one of the biggest and best events in the Midwest. So, January 18th and 19th, if you're into old fishing lures or got some maybe you want to get rid of, check it out. Kids Fishing Day, the 25th. Drinking with Scissors. We're back into it, folks. These are great events held at an awesome bar, the Muska Lounge over in there in Monona. The first one's January 22nd. I love going to these. It's just super casual. It's casually tying flies, casually having a couple drinks, talking about fishing, and it's great. And also a fishery on January 30th through February 2nd down in Prairie du Chien that my bait guy dropped off. So we got those. I think that pretty much does it for announcements. Let's get into the actual report here. So the weather this last week was kind of the opposite pattern that we had the week before, or the last few weeks. Things started off cold, but have slowly warmed up towards the weekend. Looks like some fantastic weather to get out on the ice this weekend. Looks like temps are predicted to dip back down early next week, which should make some more ice, which is great. And then warmer temps in the forecast for the following weekend. So, I'll take that all day long. A lot of folks getting out on the ice, and yeah, rightfully so. It's got some great conditions coming up, I think. The way I've been doing the reports is doing a bit of an ice update, then talk about fishing. So, like I said, the cold helped locked us up. Locally, Mendota and Monona, do what you want, but I'm not calling it safe. Of course, that ice skater went through down here off of the terrace. Lake Mendota still has some small holes, a lot of goose holes out there to be careful of. And, I've heard from some folks that have ventured out, we're talking like 1 to 2 inches, just off Governor's Island, just off Maple Bluff, stuff like that. So let's just give it a minute. I talked to somebody spudding out off the west end, but I don't know about ice conditions other than it's pretty thin out on the main lake. Shoreline areas are better. And we'll get into some details as we go through, but I'm saying Lake Monona and Mendota are not safe even for foot travel just yet. Lake Wabisa, though, and Kegonsa, they've been running ATVs all over those all week, so have at it down there, but I'll get into a little more detail here. Cherokee up here on the north side has at least 8 inches ice out there. Do be careful if you go out in this channel. That's always, some sketchy ice. And then up north of the island up here where it kind of narrows can be sketchy there. North Bay does have ice. I've heard anywhere from 7 to 10 inches across kind of the North Bay up here, but there is a channel out here where I saw when you could still see the ice. There wasn't snow on top. There was some sketchy looking ice over there anyway, but do be careful anywhere you go. The west end I heard is pretty much capped over, but I heard there are still maybe a couple goose holes around. Not exactly sure on that. I haven't gotten an official report or seen pictures myself, but Marshall Park is fishable and folks have been getting on there. Like I said, main lake of Mendota, not super safe just yet. I would imagine University Bay is safe. I have not talked to anybody that's been over there, but I know they're fishing along the city and university shoreline. So if that's safe, I would have to think University Bay is safe-ish. And when I say safe, I mean like 3 to 4 inches out here off the university and city shoreline. So maybe 4 to 5 in University Bay, or 3 to 4, we'll call it that. Tenney Park area is always a little sketchy right around the locks there. Pretty much the same deal down on Lake Monona. Like I said, main lake I'm not calling safe just yet. Not that I'm the end all be all. Who's saying what's safe? But Monona always has some sketchy areas. Wild Haven over here by the rock pile always seems to have trouble icing up. You got the discharge over here at MG&E. You've got where the Har River dumps in over here is some sketchy ice because there's current. But I've heard about folks fishing off Olbrich. I've heard about folks fishing closer to shore down here in like the Tony Watha, Wild Haven area over there. Squaw Bay, Weechawak Bay is also been iced over, probably 5 to 6 inches over there. Same thing on Turville. I did talk to somebody who was out on Turville. He said he had 5, 6 inches out there. Fishing was slow. I'll include that later. Monona Bay, probably 8 inches ice out there. The North Triangle, probably 4 to 6, just to be conservative there. South Triangle, 8 to 10. Lake Wingara, 4, 5 inches out there. Do be careful on this west end. There's springs there and along the Arboretum side. The Wingara Dam, I haven't talked to anybody that's been over there, but with the cold snap we have, I imagine there's folks fishing there. Do be careful because of the current that goes through there, though. And as far as ice continuing down the chain, Upper Mud's fine. If you want to walk through the trail, which is at least frozen now, it's not sloppy like it was last week. Lake Wabisa is completely capped over, and there are folks fishing all over it. And running ATVs. Do be careful in areas with currents, like the North Trestle up here, and then you've got the Trestle down, the Babcock Park area. You're going to have some current through there, but as far as I know, Wabisa is pretty much safe. Down on Keeganza, pretty much the same deal. So we've got folks running ATVs all over the lake, and I guess we can talk about fishing now, huh? So 8 to 10 inches down on Keeganza, as well as on Wabisa. So running ATVs everywhere and safe. Let's see, Cherokee. Reports up there have been mostly slow, but there aren't a lot of folks fishing up there. I was up there Saturday. We had great tip-up action. The gills were a little slow and a little small, but we did have action there. I went back on Tuesday and caught a bunch more tiny gills. I didn't put flags out then. But just not a lot of folks fishing, so I don't hear a lot of reports. Otherwise, on Mendota, I've been hearing about some small pike and walleye in North Bay. Most of those folks staying close to shore. Warner Bay, folks are getting out. I've seen folks as far out as like 300 yards. Do be careful out there. That's all I'm going to say. But I've heard 4 or 5 inches, depending on who you ask on Warner Bay, and they are getting some pike in there. Like I said, the West End, haven't heard any reports off anywhere over here. I know some folks have been out off Mendota County Park, but if I was going off there, I'd for sure take a spud bar. Marshall Park's had some gill action in there and some pike. Nothing to exactly write home about. Like I said, I haven't heard anything off University Bay, but I wouldn't be surprised if folks are fishing there and probably finding some gills, maybe some pike. Some pike action and walleye action along the city shoreline down here. Lake Monona, haven't heard much off the lake itself, really. Over here to Weechawak Bay, I've heard scattered panfish, small walleye, and some pike. Like I said, the one guy I talked to that was in Turville struck out pretty much. I think he said he caught one bass or something. North Triangles have been a little quieter. I know they're still getting some crappies in there, maybe the occasional walleye, pike. South Triangle's also been quiet. The bay itself has been producing gills, although I've heard they've been a little bit on the smaller side over here. And same thing on Wingara, a lot of small gills in there. Actually, I've heard about a few decent perch here and there, and some decent action for pike and largemouth bass, but most of those fish on the pike side have been small. Over here at Upper Mud, folks walking down the path have reported a bumpy ride, but at least it's not sloppy. If we had some snow in there, that would help. The dredge hole, though, has been fishing pretty well from a tip-up standpoint. Gills and stuff have been a little bit slower. Lake Farm up here is all of Wabisa is safe. Folks have been up here. That shack is still up here somewhere, sitting in the water, but hopefully he's able to get that out soon because he's going to be looking at some fines, I think, after 30 days of sitting in the water. I think it's $25 a day. But anyway, Lake Farm itself has been slow, but there has been some action around the Hog Island area, and if you can find some weeds, you'll find some fish. I haven't heard anything off Green Lantern. The south end of the lake sounds like it's also, the South Bay down here, also pretty weed-free. Been hearing about a little bit of walleye action in the Babcock Bible Camp area, but nothing to speak of. I have heard about perch out over the main basin. If you got to look for them, but if you can find them, it sounds like they've been in a good mood, and it sounds like minnows have been working well for those fish. Down on Keeganza, I've seen some folks. I had to go to Stone the other day. Saw some, pop-ups or pullovers out there on the main basin. Haven't heard anything if they're getting perch or not. The only other thing I'd heard about is some gills down in the weeds on the south end. But and as far as panfish go, spikes, waxies, plastics, everything's been working. In places like Monona Bay and other stuff like that. I'm going to give her a little pause here, and then we'll move on. All right, as far as other stuff in the area, Lake Koshkonong has ice. They've been running ATVs down there, but I did see some stuff about some open water down on the south end of the lake. It sounds like they've been getting walleyes and crappies up here, maybe more on the north end where Black Hawk Island comes in. But do use caution out there. There's heaves, there's pressure cracks, and stuff like that. And just be careful no matter where you go. Um, Otherwise, yeah, other spots. Beaver Dam Lake still has good crappie bite and bass. I mean, walleye going on out there. Actually, I heard Devil's Lake still has open water, believe it or not. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but maybe that's not the case now after the slow cold snap. But just a few days ago, somebody I talked to went over there and they had open water. So otherwise, places like the Mississippi River, all your backwaters and sloughs are good, but do be careful of springs back there. Otherwise, places like DeSoto and Stoddard, they've been on there for a while now, and folks are getting plenty of fish. Um, Up and down the Wisconsin River, same thing with the backwaters, getting some good fish there. Um, Lake Wisconsin has had a good panfish bite in a lot of the shallow bays. Out on the main lake, I haven't heard much for walleye going on out there. Otherwise, over here to Milwaukee, there are steelhead in the rivers. You'd probably be challenged to find some good um, fishable water with the cold weather we had. But you know, if you find some current areas, you'll probably find some open water. I'm just going to pause it here. I got a few folks in the shop. Just a sec. Okay, and we're back. Sorry about that. Yeah, so steelhead are in the Milwaukee River. With the bitter cold we've had, probably going to have a lot of shelf ice you're going to have to deal with, or even areas that are covered with ice. But some current areas, Estabrook, um, Clutch, stuff like that are going to be good. And if you're fishing for steelhead, you're looking at colorful, flashy streamers. If you're swinging flies, otherwise large buggy nymphs and egg patterns. If you're floating through runs, otherwise spawn sacks and spinners, jerk baits work well too. And I gotta imagine the harbor out here. I haven't, I guess, heard any reports specifically, but it's got to be iced over out there. So not much casting to be done from shore there. And yeah, so I guess that's what I know for that as far as warm water action goes. But the early catch and release trout season is open, which is very exciting. It's been a little cold. It's going to be warmer though this weekend. So if you venture out, um, of course, it is all catch and release, and only artificial lures can be used. So you might still run into some ice on some of the creeks, and you might have some shelf ice to deal with. But again, here, just like in Milwaukee, if you can find some areas with current, you'll likely find some fishable water. As far as our Happy Fly Day feature, we're going to talk about um, small stuff. So this time of year, it's a lot of these little midge patterns, these chronochrome. I can't remember. I can never pronounce that. Little bead head deals, little midge nymphs, stuff like that are very popular. If I don't often run droppers, but if I do, it's almost always in the wintertime, and I'll put like either a small woolly bugger on, like a beadhead woolly bugger. The name of the game this time of year with trout is slow and low, so you're going to want to get into some deeper, slower water, and just run things that you can get down there. So small woolly buggers like this with either a woolly bugger with a pink squirrel behind it. Pink squirrel really is the only fly you need for the winter, but since we're talking about it, woolly bugger with a pink squirrel behind it, or a woolly bugger with one of these little midge nymphs behind it, and you can do very well. The fish are looking for stuff that's small, though. But again, if it's me, a lot of times I'll just put one pink squirrel on and just kind of bridge hop, drive around. It's a good time. But between the woolly buggers and the small nymphs, that's basically, and the pink squirrels, that's all we're really going to be talking about for the next several weeks while we're in full winter mode. But I guess that pretty much does it for the report. I do want to thank you for calling in. Again, feel free to call the shop at 241-4225 if you want us to expand on anything we talked about here. Otherwise, I want to wish you luck out there. Please be safe, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks so much.